I'm wet. But this topic makes me dry.
Why?
Ladies, gentlemen, and everyone in between that, Penguin Z0, MoistCr1tikal, Charlie White might be quitting YouTube, or at the bare minimum, quitting his podcast, from a statement that was recently leaked from his Patreon on Twitter earlier this morning. And this is a really interesting topic because Charlie is an inspiration to a lot of different YouTubers. He's an inspiration to me at the bare minimum. It's one of the reasons I got into YouTube. And so the idea that an unstoppable force would finally meet an immovable object and quit YouTube sounds completely foreign to me. It sounds impossible. But I want to talk about this, and it's going to mention Sneako. So of course a Sneako viewer or two is going to stumble their way across this video, and so I want to add some added context for why I'm wet. See, Sneako viewers, there's this thing called a shower, and a shower is a place in which a person bathes under a spray of typically warm or hot water. Indoors there's a drain in the floor, and most showers have temperature, spray pressure, and adjusted shower head nozzle. That's why I'm wet. You might want to consider hopping in one of those sometime. You can finally figure out why the gamer gunk is sticking to the inside of your legs. But of course, let's dig into why Charlie is stepping away from possibly YouTube, but at the bare minimum, his podcast. Starting with Charlie's statement, which wasn't really his statement, it more released as an over-encompassing update from the official podcast Patreon, in which it says, "Goodbye, Charlie." And I'm going to give a quick read to the most important intro part that says, "Hey everyone, effective immediately, Charlie has made the decision to leave both the official podcast and the Red Thread." And for those of you who don't know what the Red Thread is, alongside the official podcast is his podcast with his buddies and pals and friendos, and then Red Thread is one he does with one of his buddy pal friendos and Wendigoon. But to continue down this statement, he wants to go on an indefinite hiatus to scale back his time on the internet, which I can understand. This man's been doing daily videos longer than I can even remember. If I was in his position, my brain would be a homogeneous goop at this point. But to continue, we obviously wish him the best, and for everyone to respect his decision, and for all to know that the show will always be open for him to drop by and talk shop should he wish to return. And the official podcast, Red Thread, and Criminally Stupid are not going anywhere in the light of this announcement, which is, I mean, glad to see the podcasts are going forward, but I don't even know how the official podcast is going to survive without Charlie. Like, don't get me wrong, the podcast is still entertaining, and Charlie isn't necessarily the most chatty guy on the planet. But being realistic, he was the most famous face there. Like, he posted the podcast episodes on his own channel, and that probably made up for a big portion of the views that came from that podcast. But, of course, there is actually more to this statement. That part that I showed you was just the part that everyone's sharing online because it does kind of summarize everything you need to know. But there are like 3 or 4 other paragraphs in this Patreon announcement that I wanted to quickly summarize, so you have all of the Five Nights at Freddy's lore surrounding the situation, and then we'll do a little dig into why Charlie might have gone and got the milk. In the extra little snippet of the email that I found via the Twitter user Octopox, it talks mainly about how patrons are going to be still receiving their bonuses, and that episode 400 is coming out soon, but this middle paragraph talks about the fact that they're looking for a replacement. So this isn't something where Charlie's taking a short little hiatus, a small little vacation. He's leaving for a while. He's stepping back for long enough that they're going to have to fill his spot with someone new. And that's an unfathomably sad way to start my Wednesday, but why is it happening? Why is YouTube Jesus stepping away from YouTube? Well, I think it all boils down to, and the internet seems to be on the same consensus with me in this situation, boils down to a debate he had with Sneako just a few days ago, in which the internet kind of came to the conclusion Sneako won. What? How can YouTube's John Wick lose a debate to the guy who said that Cuties was the best movie ever made? Well, to be fair, it doesn't even really seem like the debate was won, period. Like, I don't think that there was a winner in that debate. It just happens that during this competition of who could make more of a dog shit take, Charlie got caught with his pants down because he misinterpreted something Sneako was saying. And so, by the end of the debate, Sneako managed to walk away being a giggly little bitch with his dignity still intact, and Charlie ended up rage quitting his stream, which just was not a good look in any way. And I want to look at some of the clips from the debate, but I want to start with the most popular clip, and the one that people kind of argue is the killing blow to Charlie that made him lose the debate, that most drama channels like to share on Twitter. And let's just give it a quick watch and gain our own opinions on it real quick.
Do you believe that somebody can go through hormone therapy? Can they change their gender if they're a child?
I think that's totally fine as long as everyone is consenting.
Okay, so as long as everyone...
If your parents are okay with it and you are okay with it, I think that's totally a familial decision to make, yeah.
Okay, so a child can cut their penis off and take hormone blockers and change their biology forever, but they can't get married?
Hi, I'm going to interrupt the clip real quick to add some extra context because this is one of the big things that Sneako tries to argue throughout this entire debate. I don't know what sparked this debate. I don't know why they're arguing all of this stuff because Charlie is having a side arguing pro-trans stuff and Sneako's having a side arguing pro-marrying children. These two things don't clash. It's the strangest debate I've ever seen. And it's why I was talking about how they were just having a war on bad takes. Like, it was just people not knowing what they were talking about, especially since Charlie, by default, isn't really a debate bro like Sneako is.
So that's a decision that now extends beyond the family, because now you're bringing in a different party. So if you have someone that's your age coming in saying, I want to marry that child, I don't think that can happen under any circumstance.
So,
no.
But it's still a personal decision. You're still deciding.
Because there's
take the other party out of the equation.
It's
a personal decision. If I'm 16 and I personally want to marry this girl, she's beautiful. She's 21 years old. Her family wants to do it. My family wants to do it. You're saying I can't do that. We're both consenting. I'm ready to go. I'm physically mature. But I'm not allowed to marry because Moist says that woman's a pedophile.
And of course, you can kind of see Charlie's armor start to kind of falter here because he is kind of arguing something that he doesn't necessarily know enough about in both ways. Because the whole thing where Sneako's talking about cutting off your weenie, you know, that's not happening. You can't have that surgery unless you're past the age of 18. The whole idea is you go through, like, special procedures over the years, and then eventually, once you pass the age of being an adult, you do something like that. And so, clearly, Critical isn't exactly caught up to date on what lore he needs to know when he's debating this type of stuff, and at the same time, they're arguing things that just don't matter. Why are you arguing who can marry who? Sneako, do you want to marry a 13-year-old that bad? Like, is it that much of a problem? It's just strange.
But if then the next day I leave it, I'm depressed, I want to cut my penis off, I can go right into the clinic, snip it off, and start taking HRT like Chris Tyson. That's a society that makes sense to you?
It is. I believe everyone has I believe everyone has the right to do with their body what they want to do.
See, Charlie, like, but that's not how it works. You go through hormone therapy for years and years before which is a reversible thing, before eventually doing any actual permanent surgery when you're an actual adult. So he's arguing a point that he doesn't understand, and of course it made him overall lose a debate that he kind of had in the bag, because he's arguing one of the dumbest people on the planet. Which is arguably why Charlie lost, because like Sneako, everyone knows, is a walking joke. Like, no one takes Sneako seriously, but Charlie has been revered as someone who always says something people can agree with, because he just sticks kind of in the middle when it comes to opinions. So the idea that he stood for something and did it without being properly informed, really, he had so much more to lose than Sneako did in this situation. Like, just look at this. Look at this clip that happened near the end of the debate that, like, no one's talking about, but made Sneako look like an absolute buffoon.
I think we're about to wrap based on the way you're talking. Nick Fuentes, you just dropped that name. Are you a big supporter of Nick Fuentes?
He's going to be the next president. He's going to be a future president of the United States of America. It's inevitable.
So for someone that is all about love, he is... do you think he spreads love?
100%.
He doesn't even agree with your existence. He doesn't like race mixing.
Mm-hmm. Not liking race mixing, he doesn't hate me.
He does. He actually does, though.
No, he doesn't. I know he's a good friend of mine. We're friends.
No, brother, he is vocal about being against race mixing.
He wants to continue the white race because the Zionists are trying to destroy the white race. They encourage. I understand his point of view 100%. Do I agree with his views completely? No. Does he agree with my views completely? No. We're different religions. This person is the future president of America because white people are being decimated right now. All of Europe is being completely diluted very quickly. In America, the immigrants are flooding through. Like there's no sense of a white identity anymore. You're white. You're not. Are you white?
Yeah.
You're not even allowed to say white power.
Like what was that last statement? Was that a gotcha? You're not even allowed to say white power anymore. Yeah, I mean, I don't really need to. What are you talking about? But you can tell that our boy Charles White got decimated in this debate. Like, there's even a part at the very end of his stream where he addresses his chat and how he just even admits that he didn't even know what was going on, really.
You can get therapy, you can go through the process of making that decision. I thought that's what it was. I thought he was just speaking in hyperbole with the dick cutting off shit. I thought that's what we were talking about. And then if you decide that's the path you want to take, it is your body. You can do that. You can make that decision once you become of age to make a decision like that. I just don't understand how it got so muddled. Half of the fucking conversation was hyperbole, and apparently that one was literal. Or it's a very malicious attack on what I'm trying to say or misunderstanding. I don't know.
Which kind of further accentuates the point that I was making earlier that Charlie isn't a debate bro. Charlie is a guy who speaks in hyperbole, says poop, shit, cum, and goofball all the time in his videos, while Sneako is the kind of guy who's constantly trying to push a grifting narrative. It was two people who put into a room who definitely just did not mesh at all. Back when Charlie initially debated Sneako a long time ago, Sneako was still a bumbling buffoon, but over time, he's like trained his chi. He's gone to the tops of the mountains trying to train to be the most hard right grifting debate bro that he can possibly be, and so putting them in a room this time just ended horribly for Charles. And you can tell that this debate's been sticking with Charles. It's been visiting him at night like the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, like he's Scrooge, because even in future streams, he was bringing up the debate and how he still feels like he didn't manage to understand what was going on or get his point across.
And now I give a perspective on something that immediately gets misconstrued, and I do recognize a lot of it's my fault. I assumed that Sneako was talking in hyperbole about a 9-year-old getting their dick cut off, because I didn't have the assumption that anyone thought that is how transitioning works.
Which was, of course, Charlie's biggest mistake, assuming that a right-wing grifter knows anything about trans people.
I thought he was talking about the overall point of a child transitioning, which is years-long process. And you can't even get that fucking surgery legally until you are 18. Like, I didn't think that was a literal statement he was making.
Overall, Sneako managed to basically just outplay Charlie in a game of 4D chess due to training his chi as a debate bro. He managed to play on Charlie's desire to use hyperbole and jokes as a way to make him think the conversation they were having wasn't as literal as it actually was, and so Sneako's brain-dead 4-year-old fans managed to take that clip and use it out of context, and he lost the debate because of that. And I think due to that, Charlie has just been plagued by it. People have been bullying him online. They've been commenting on his videos. People have been mad about the fact that he got outplayed in the debate by Sneako. And I think that it stuck with him as well. And due to that, he's stepping away from at least the podcast. I have looked at his channel since then, and literally as of me recording this, he has uploaded a video. So I don't think that he is actually going to stop making videos, unless of course this is just one of his last few and he has a few in the chamber he's going to send out and then take a little break, which is a well-deserved break, I will admit. But for now, I guess we're going to have to see where things go from here, but I'm going to be hitting the road for now. I appreciate you guys spending some time with me. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. I always appreciate chatting with you guys, and of course subscribe and like the video if you are new, or if you're a fan of Sneako, feel free to dislike it, but make sure to take a shower. That's the trade-off, okay? But for now, thank you guys for being absolutely outstanding, and as always, adios, arrivederci, goodbye, good night. And this is my 9/11.